You're listening to Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Cerreta. This is Jamie's Local Love, the podcast where we celebrate everything local right here in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, there are some flavors that you always go back to, some foods you just can't get enough of, and some people that if you know they're in the area, you gotta find them. And that is what happens when I'm at a farmer's market. I gotta find our next guest, Anthony Perez from Los Muertos Salsa. Anthony, hello.
Hi.
We go way back. I've been doing Local Love for about 8 years. You've been doing salsa professionally right here in the Valley for how long?
9 years this year.
Congratulations.
Yes.
So where are you from originally?
I was born in New Mexico, but we moved here when I was 5.
Okay, so we'll claim you here in Arizona.
Right. I'm pretty much, a native. So
Yeah.
that's where I learned a lot of my recipes is my grandma and mom, and, it's all kind of more New Mexican style.
Oh, they are. Okay. And so were you making salsas as a little boy in the kitchen in Arizona or in New Mexico?
At home, I would make salsa. My mom showed me how, and, I've always been a kind of a foodie since I was little. I always loved food. So, and as I got older, I would keep making it, take it to work, potlucks, and people asked where they could buy it or if they could buy it. So
buy it off you at the potluck, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get more. Make me a jar.
I got to the point where I was taking 50 containers on Fridays to work.
Oh, wow.
I worked at a bank, so and it was all employees that my fellow employees that would buy it. So
Oh, wow.
then started doing salsa festivals and kind of took off from there.
So did you study culinary arts at all?
No, I was gonna go to culinary school, but I talked to a lot of chefs, and I hear that most it's a lot of it is on the job where you learn everything. Yeah. So, a lot of people spend a lot of money in culinary school, and most of their training actually comes from when they're on the line and learning everything at a restaurant. So.
And you had already learned.
Yeah, I was. My grandma had a little restaurant when I was growing up too, so I kind of helped them in the kitchen as well. So I always had a love for cooking.
So that first job at 16, where were you? Were you here in the Valley or?
My first job at 16 was actually, I worked at Little Caesars.
Oh, you did. So it was.
Yeah.
Were you making pizzas?
Yeah, it was pizzas and that was when they used to serve it in the paper with the cardboard.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
So a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I was at a TCBY for my first job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yogurt.
That's refreshing in the
School.
summer. Yeah, that's old school.
Old school. So you ended up working at a bank, you said.
Right.
So a far turn from working in the culinary arts
Right.
or making salsa. How did you pursue banking or mortgages? Because when I met you, you had just left mortgages to do salsa.
Right. It was a slow transition. I actually did a market or two while I still worked full time, just to test the waters out and see how it went. And then I did it for a year. Just Saturday markets. My first one was Phoenix Public Market and Uptown. And then it kind of decided that I could do more markets and do some weekday markets. There's a few in the Valley that are weekday, and kind of took the plunge after that. So.
Okay, so I want to talk about the jump, but I want to back up a little bit. So while you're doing these first farmers markets, were you preparing from home? Did you have people help you?
When you start the farmers market, you actually need permits. So you need a commercial kitchen, and it's a producer's permit to make it. So they come and inspect your kitchen wherever you can sublease, or if you have the money to have your own kitchen. And then you also need a permit to sell it. So it's called a peddler's permit.
Oh.
So, so I actually, since I started making it for markets, I made it in a commercial kitchen.
Okay, so you're in the commercial kitchen.
Right.
And still working full time.
Right.
Where were you working?
At Wells Fargo.
At Wells Fargo, doing mortgages.
I was a compliance analyst for mortgages.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that title compared to the title? What are you, the salsa guy? Now salsa CEO?
Everybody just calls me the salsa guy, or, but it's definitely been a journey.
Yeah.
So.
And making that jump, when did you know you were financially comfortable to make that jump into salsa for full time?
I wasn't really sure.
Yeah.
That's why I say I took the plunge.
Yeah.
I had confidence that because of what I was making at the markets I was doing, that if I added more, it'd be more revenue, and it ended up being a good leap of faith. So.
And so how, what was that time frame from the first day in the market to when you went full time in this career?
It was exactly a year. I started the markets in January of 2014, I believe, or somewhere around there. And then the last day of 2014, I quit my job.
Wow.
So.
Were the guys at Wells Fargo like, we'll keep your desk for you?
Yeah, they still ordered salsa, after I left.
Yeah.
My manager, was crying when I left, but
And
she
placing
was,
orders?
Yeah, I mean, it was her, like luckily they were really cool with what I did as long as it didn't interfere with my job. So, people would come by my desk, they would send me email orders, and I would make it Thursday night, and they'd come to my desk and pick it up on Friday.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, so it was a lot of work, working full time and then trying to make salsa in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen on Fridays for the markets until 2 a.m.
Making all that yourself.
Right.
And so you would go to the market with how much?
The first market, I probably went with 60 salsas, and I sold out the first day I did it, and I was like, I probably made like $400 or something like that, and I was excited. But I didn't think I was going to make that much from just doing salsa. Right. I mean, back then when I was still working full time, and it was just extra money, so it was a whole different.
Right.
Now I
different
depend
bucket.
on what I make for income. So.
And 9 years later, how much are you going to the farmer's market with? How much salsa are you making? Where are you making your salsas?
So I make my salsa right now at Lee Bones Fine Meats. It's a little butcher shop, so I make it there in the evenings. And then, my employees come and pick up their coolers there, and their coolers are usually loaded with like 120 to 140 salsas plus their chips. It's hard to. They only can take so much to the markets. Like Gilbert, she sells out every weekend. Uptown, she pretty much sells out too. So, and then once fall comes, we'll be in a lot more. So.
Right. Okay. So we can look for you in our farmers markets.
Yes.
How many different flavors do you have?
It varies. I can have. Usually, it's around 12 to 13 flavors. We have mild, hot. Our super hot.
Yeah. Oh, he's using different verbiage for you. Here. Super hot. Go see him and find out what the real name is.
And we even do like the elote dips. We're known for our fruit salsas. I like to play with different flavors. So.
Yeah. Which one is the one that I love the most? Do you remember?
It was mild and mango peach, from what I remember.
See, he knows. And we have a mango peach right here. Delicious, delicious stuff. Did you feel like you used your financial background in coming up with a plan, a strategy for your business?
I was an underwriter when I first started at Wells. My stepdad is who helped me. He's an accountant, so him and my mom actually helped with all the financials and breaking down the prices, and they were a big help at the beginning. Most of my family and friends when I first started were my biggest help. Some of them would do markets for me. Some of them would come and help in the kitchen once I got a little busier. Yeah. So. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the fam.
Yes.
And the friends, of course.
Definitely.
And it is hard work working those farmers markets. It's hot days. They're long days. You have to schlep stuff in and out and set up the tents, etc. What do people not know about the farmers markets?
It's definitely more work. A lot of people think that you just make it out of your own house and, go and just sell it out of a cooler. But there's a lot that goes behind it, especially if you're doing several markets. You have to, at one time I was doing 7 markets on Saturdays. So that's loading 7 coolers, making sure they have their chips, making sure they have bags and all their other stuff. And that's 7 setups too, 7 canopies, banners, tables, So it's definitely a lot more work than people might think.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a different kind of person that does farmers markets. A lot of us compare ourselves to like carnies or because we travel to different markets and set up and tear down.
Right.
But
well, you're setting up a show in every town.
You become family with a lot of the people you work with there.
So do you have any favorites at the farmers markets right now?
I have a lot. There's CBD is Wellzona is really good. There's a newer company. They came out of California, but they now make it here. It's called Yalitizers. It's like they have yogurts and hummuses and dips.
Oh, what is it called?
Yalitizers.
Yalitizers. Okay,
yeah,
sounds good.
So it's really good stuff. There's a lot of newer vendors. there's so many. Like, everybody that does markets does it. It's their passion. A lot of them are doing it to test out their concept or whatever they make to see if they can go bigger or go to, I know people that have gone to grocery stores with their products or open brick and mortar, So it's definitely a good way to test what you have.
Right. I think I've seen a ton of people from the farmers markets move into either, it seems like a catapult.
Yeah.
It seems like it really launches people into that next step for their career, wherever that is that they want to go.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a good way without spending a ton of money to figure it out.
And then I also find myself at the back of the line a lot. You usually have a line there, and I have to just kind of wave to you from the back. Anyone get kind of scrappy at the farmers markets?
Everyone now and then, like, some people come in because they know we sell out at some of the markets, and they'll buy 5, 6 of the same ones at a time, and then if somebody's behind them and they wanted that flavor, they get a little upset.
So it does happen.
It does sometimes. Yeah, it's just that's the thing with markets. If you have a favorite vendor, you need to get there early to make sure that you get what you want, because they'll sell out fast. You only can take so much to a market. So.
Right. Okay. So tell me about like your Monday morning. Your Monday morning, what is the plan? How many tomatoes are you buying? Where are you going? Where are you getting your supplies?
Well, Monday's my only day.
Your day off. That's your day off.
That's the day.
What are you doing on your day of rest?
Lately, it's been trying to spend it at the pool or with my son or girlfriend. So it's nice to have one day to kind of relax, and then Tuesdays I kind of go through my inventory and see what I need to order as far as my onions and tomatoes and that kind of thing. And then usually Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are like kind of production. I do a little bit at a time, so it's not all kind of cramped into one day.
And that's just you doing your production?
And then lately my girlfriend has been helping, and it's hard to find anybody that I don't know why, but it's hard to find employees right now.
Yeah,
so.
It's been a struggle, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
So how do you combat that? What are you doing?
Well,
just doing
work
it yourself?
a little harder, yeah, a little more. I used to have a crew of like 3 that would make everything, and definitely this last year has been a little different for us. You followed us since we first started. To you were there for the pandemic when we started delivering, which was huge for us. And it's kind of you kind of roll with the punches as a small business just to keep going.
So are you still delivering?
Not right now. Okay. No, the gas price has kind of shot that down, and finding employees. So
right.
We're hoping eventually to start that up again, especially in the summertime. I think it'd be a little nicer for people that don't want to go beat.
Yeah, the farmer's market, it's hot sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Even in the morning, I mean, like, like Gilbert's open year round, but people still come out. They brave the heat. So.
And everyone's clustered underneath any kind of patch of shade.
Right.
Everyone's in that one little spot.
Definitely.
You have chips too. Who makes your chips?
I have a co-packer that produces them for me. I don't have time to make them anymore myself. I used to do them all myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what's your slogan with the chips?
They're chipacabra. Oh. And then our slogan for salsa is where chips go to die.
Oh, yeah, where chips go to die. So. Yeah, happy death for all of us.
Yes.
We get to enjoy that. Okay, let's look at some of your products here. You have, I want to start right here. People watch podcasts and listen to podcasts. So we have to describe. So we have the elote dip. What's this?
It's Mexican street corn. It's usually on the cob with all the toppings. It's all the goodness of a Mexican street corn on the cob, just in a dip. So it's all sweet white corn, mayo, crema, cotija, a little tahini on top. So it's not my most healthy salsa, but it's delicious.
It is, and you don't really even need the chip. You just maybe need a spoon.
People eat it with a spoon, with a chip. I've put it in a quesadilla.
Oh, yeah.
You can eat it warm, you can eat it cold, however. But most people will just eat it with a spoon. So.
Okay. Let's talk about one of my favorites, the mango peach salsa. Mango
peach is one of my most popular. It's I tell people it's good over cream cheese with chips.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also good, with shrimp, fish, pork tacos. Mm-hmm. It's about a medium heat, so most people can enjoy it without burning their mouth off.
Yeah. Where is my mild?
Mild is right here.
That's my bestie. The mild, because I could drink it. It is so delicious. What are you putting in the mild? You're doing something different than the other guys are, for sure.
Mild is all about flavor, not a lot of bite. It's mild roasted green chilies. I roast all the chilies myself. But a lot of it is my mix of spices that I use, too.
And that's trade secret.
Kind of, yeah. It's like the, the Colonel recipe kind of thing.
You can't tell. You can't tell what that is. Let's see. One more.
This is my favorite,
which
avocado.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll make a quesadilla just for that, but it's really good over chicken or steak or like a carne asada taco. That one I can almost drink.
Yeah.
And that one's usually about
That's
a
the
medium. Oh, yeah.
All right. What's the last one? I can't see.
And that's a regular hot.
Uh-huh.
And then I also have, so regular hot is just right as far as bite for most people. It's roasted jalapeno, roasted serrano. So it's that's one of my favorites. I'll drown my eggs in that one.
Oh, really?
So.
And then you have the super hot.
The super hot. That one, I used to be able to handle a lot more when I was, a little younger.
Yeah, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
It's changed a little.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's got a little bit of dried habanero on it. So, but it's heat with flavor. And we say it's a slow burn. It kind of sneaks up on you, catches up.
What are your folks back at Wells Fargo? Do they come by and see you? Are they like, oh my gosh, we're so proud of you. We're so happy for you. You're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, the dream to have your own business and work for yourself. And, even the last boss I had, a few of the bosses I've had I was at Wells for 15 years. So, they would come to the shop when I had my shop off of 16th Street in Bell. And then, they'll come to the market still. They still, follow us and come by and, buy stuff. So it's, they saw it from the beginning.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
They really did. So what's next for you today? Do you have to make more salsa?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making it and I came for the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
And then I'm going to go make some more.
Yeah. What would you tell people who are wanting to maybe follow a passion like you did, make that jump, go into a full-time career where they're in charge? What did you learn that you want people, that you would tell your younger self?
I would say, first of all, like especially if it's a food product, to try farmers markets first, because, to go straight to a brick and mortar is quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
And also don't give up. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, it takes a while to get that following at markets. And once people know your product and, the word gets out, it definitely builds. I would say give it a year at least, to see where it's going. So I've seen vendors that have come and they give it a month and they get frustrated. I mean, it just takes time to build and, get feedback from your customers and see what they like and what they suggest too. So
did you ever hit one of those blocks where it was so frustrating?
I would say at the very beginning, the first summer I did it was, it's definitely the markets here get a little slower. And then, just keep with it. I mean, the big season for markets here in Phoenix are October through like May. So, and then I discovered going up north, that's a lot of people head up to get out of the heat, including me. So,
yeah. I was there last week and up in Flag last week.
I don't know if this last few weeks have been getting out of the heat for Flag. It was like 96 last week. So.
We went all the way up to the top of the mountain. We took that gondola ride all the way to the top.
That's fun.
So, but it was still warm and sunny, yes.
Was it hot? Was it warm up there?
Yes, it was warm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, Flag, I love Flag. I mean, I would love to move there eventually and maybe try to work out of there and send product here.
That would be nice.
So,
all right.
But
You're
it's hard.
out there.
It's definitely hard to leave, when you're coming back to 115, 117.
I think that'll crack soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
We will.
Well, we got the first monsoon last night.
I know,
that
it
was
gorgeous,
nice,
wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Did you get rain at your place?
Yeah, we got some rain and then a lot of dust.
Yeah.
A lot of dust. So.
Okay, so I'd like to wrap up asking, what are you loving in Phoenix right now? But since you're running up to Flag, is there some place you're loving in Flag right now?
I love just the food scene in Flag is amazing. I've been to so many good small restaurants there. It's definitely grown a lot.
Give us names, Anthony. Got to drop the names. Tell us why.
I love Sosaba. There's Karma Sushi, which is some of the best sushi I've had. I mean, even in Arizona, not just Phoenix, but.
And it's right there on the main drag.
Right.
Yeah.
Pizza Coletta. I don't know if you've ever. They have there's a few there, and then they're connected to breweries, but some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life. So, and then you have a lot of small breakfast spots like Toasted Owl, and just a lot of smaller, not chain restaurants.
Right.
So
got to keep it local.
Yeah, they all have their own flair. So
yeah, nice. Yeah, I got a couple of them over the past weekend, my friend had the pizza clutta waiting for me when I arrived.
Yeah.
And then her husband had been at Karma that night, and he said it was out of this world.
Oh, yeah.
And we walked by it the next night, and we said, there it is, Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Great sushi and Flagstaff. But
Sushi
you
and-
doubled down on it.
Sushi and Flagstaff. I never thought either, but
Yeah.
I guess they fly their fish in daily. And,
Wow.
But it's definitely, it's some, they have some good stuff there. So.
Awesome. Anthony, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy for you. 9 years in.
Yes.
Los Muertos Salsa. Tell us where we can find you. We know the farmers markets. Go ahead and list where you are, and Lee Bones as well.
Lee Bones, off of the 101 in Union Hills. It's a little butcher shop. There's also Block and Apron. It's another butcher shop off of Cave Creek in the 101. And then that's like where you can find me during the weekday and weekends. And then for farmers market right now in the summertime, it's Gilbert and Uptown.
Anthony
And then,
Perez.
of course, up north in Flag and Munns.
Munns
So,
Park and Flagstaff. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.